Transmission Company of Nigeria. Zamfara State government reopens 45 schools as insecurity depletes. And on the foreign scene, Chad ex-opposition figure Saleh Kebsoba named Prime Minister.
Global News.
You listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Today is the 12th of October 2022, which is equivalent to the 16th of Rabiul Awwal 1444 after Hijri. And now the news in full. The 2023 appropriation bill of 20.5 trillion naira passed through the second reading in the Senate and the House of Representatives. The upper chamber referred the bill to its Committee on Appropriation for further legislative action and expressed dissatisfaction over the rise in recurrent expenditure, which is up from over 6 trillion naira this year to over 8 trillion naira budgeted for next year. According to the lawmakers, Nigeria cannot continue to borrow to fund 1% of its population. Subsequently, the Senate asked its committee to report back in 4 weeks. It adjourned its sit-in for the next 4 weeks to allow its various committees to work on the 2023 budget estimates as well as a budget defense by various ministries, departments, and agencies. President Muhammadu Buhari has sworn in Justice Olukayode Ariola as substantive Chief Justice of Nigeria at the Council Chamber of the State House in Abuja today. The swearing-in of Ariola followed his confirmation by the Senate on September 21st, 3 months after his appointment by the President. Ariola took the judicial oath of office in a brief ceremony shortly before the commencement of the weekly virtual meeting of the Federal Executive Council chaired by the President. The event was witnessed by Vice President Amos Mbajo, some cabinet ministers, other justices of the Supreme Court, the governor of Oyo and Ondo states, Seyi Makinde and Rotimi Akeredolu, respectively. Ariola was appointed as acting CJN on June 27th, following the resignation of Justice Tanko Muhammad on health grounds. The Ministry of Power says there's no plan to sell the Transmission Company of Nigeria. In a statement today, the ministry urged the public to dismiss statements regarding a non-existing plan to privatize the TCN. This is a response to media reports and statements claiming that there's a plan to privatize the Transmission Company of Nigeria, and some of the reports claim that the said privatization is going to take place in coming months. The statement said the Transmission Company of Nigeria is a centerpiece in the federal government of Nigeria's efforts to rejuvenate the power sector. Therefore, the Ministry of Power, working with key stakeholders, is continuing to evaluate assets and upgrade TCN to make it more efficient and transparent. On the sporting arena, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has tasked the newly elected Executive Committee of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, to improve all levels of football in the country. Mohamed Sani Uba has details of this and other sports updates.
The Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday Dare, addressed the Nigeria Football Federation leadership when they paid him a visit at his office in Abuja. The minister said football is a national asset, a unifying force in Nigeria, and the federal government through his office is interested in its growth and development. In his remarks, the newly elected NFF President Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau thanked the minister for his support and pledged along with the other members of his board to work in the interest of the country. Other members of the new NFF leadership on the visit were Sirif Rabi Inwa Alan, Ahmed Yusuf Fresh, Aisha Falode, Margaret Ichin, Esen Odofort, and the General Secretary Dr. Mohamed Sunusi. Meanwhile, the World 100-meter hurdles champion and world record holder Toby Amusan has been listed among the 10 nominees for the Women's World Athlete of the Year, organized by World Athletics. The athletics body made this known in a press release published on their website today. The body further mentioned that the 10 nominees had been selected by an international panel of athletics experts from all six continental areas of world athletics. Amusan alongside Kenya's Faith Kipyegon, who is the current world 1,500 meter champion and Diamond League 1,500 meter champion, were the only Africans to be nominated. In another update, Paris Saint-Germain coach Christopher Galtier says rumors about Kylian Mbappe's future did not disrupt his team preparation for last night's Champions League match against Benfica. PSG were held to a third straight draw as the game ended 1-1 after Mbappe put them ahead from the penalty spot just before halftime. It came after various media reports in Spain and France earlier yesterday suggested that Mbappe will seek to leave PSG in the January transfer window, despite only signing a new 3-year contract at the end of last season. In Don tennis, Andy Murray is through to the second round of the UN Open after beating 60 Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in straight set. British number 3 Murray, who was awarded a wild card, beat Supina 7-5, 6-2. Muhammad Sanuba, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com, or call us through this number, 082 444163. Welcome back. You're to listen to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. Zamfara State Ministry of Education said today that the state government has reopened 45 out of the 75 schools it closed down over insecurity. Permanent Secretary in the ministry, Alhaji Kabir Atahiru, made the disclosure when he received members of the state's technical team on education in emergencies who paid him a visit to the ministry. State government directed the shutting of the school in September 2021, following the abduction of students of Government Day Secondary School, Kaya, in the Maradin local government area of the state. He noted that while reopening the schools, it has been categorized into 3 groups: green, yellow, and red. Atario explained green were schools located in areas without security threats. The yellow group is for schools located in areas with the little threat of insecurity, while the red ones were schools in those areas with high security risks. He said all the 75 schools fell into the red group at the time of their closure, as it was dangerous to allow them to remain open. Earlier, the team leader, Hajiya Sa'adatu Abdul said that the visit was to advocate for the establishment of the Education in Emergencies Working Group in the state. The Kano State House of Assembly has received and adopted the report of its Standing Committee on Public Accounts in respect of audited accounts of the government of Kano State for the year ended 31st December 2021. This followed a conclusion of the report presentation by the chairman of the committee, also member representing Dokwa constituency. Speaking to Newsman, the lawmaker said that the committee discovered some development compared with the previous records.
The Committee on Public Accounts, on behalf of the membership, I presented the 2016 financial statements on the floor of the House today. Just like what I would like to tell you, that if you look at what is happening, the reports, they are delayed because of the volume of work we inherited in 2019. Inherited, in short, the last report that was presented on this floor as of end of 8th Assembly was for 2010. The 9th Assembly were able to do 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and thank God today we have finished 2016. And inshallah, before end of the month or early next month, inshallah, this committee will present up to 2020. And by that time, we'll put the House on the, what do I call it, pedestal of
Similarly, the House also ordered its Standing Committee on Public Petition to investigate the complaint of Junkstar Market traders against Kano State Ministry of Works on its efforts to evacuate them from their shops. The traders presented their letter through member representing Rimungado Tofa constituency, Mohammed Bello Utubutu. Mohammed Bello Utubutu said that the traders needed immediate intervention of the House.
That is why, on behalf of these people, I submitted their complaint to the House. Inshallah, we are going to look at it in a very positive way.
Correspondent Awal Hassan Fakir reports that the House adjourned its sitting until next week, Monday. And on business, we have Abdurrahman Hamis Medina with updates.
The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has downgraded Nigeria's economic growth prospect by 0.2 percentage points to 3.2% in the face of rising uncertainty across the globe. In its October World Economic Outlook (WEO) update, the pound projected the country's gross domestic product (GDP) to grow at 3.2% this year and slump downward to 3% in 2023. Both estimates are 20 basis points BPS behind July forecasts. The average performance so far is short of the federal government's projected growth of the year. Abdurrahman Hamis Medina, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, veteran Chadian politician and former opposition figure Saleh Kibzoba has been appointed Prime Minister, according to a decree issued today by military leader and interim President Mohamed Idris Deby Itno. Tarzana reports.
Former journalist Kebzabo, 75, ran 4 times for the presidency against Deby's father, Idris Deby Itno, was killed during an operation against rebels in April 2021 and was succeeded by a junta headed by his son, a 30-year-old 5-star general. Kebzabo is named prime minister according to the decree issued by Deby. Meanwhile, 6 Western countries, including the US and the UK, said they are profoundly concerned by the escalation of violence in northern Ethiopia and the resulting deterioration of a dire humanitarian crisis there amid a civil war. In a joint statement released today, Australia, Denmark, Germany, and the Netherlands joined Washington and London in calling both warring parties, the Ethiopian government and Tigrayan forces, to immediately stop the fighting and agree a cessation of hostilities. Zarzana, Freedom Radio.
And with this, we've come to the end of today's global news. But before we go, highlights of the major stories. The 2023 appropriation bill of 20.5 trillion naira passed through the second reading in the Senate and the House of Representatives. The Ministry of Power said there is no plan to sell the transmission company of Nigeria. The State Ministry of Education today said the state government has reopened 45 out of the 75 schools it closed down over insecurity. And on the foreign scene, veteran Chadian politician and former opposition figure Saleh Kebzoba has been appointed Prime Minister, according to a decree issued today by military leader and interim President Mohamed Idris Deby Itno. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Hauwa Adamu Kiyawa. Have a wonderful evening.